so happy, they answer, Jesus. I want this Jesus, said that man. Baptize me and give me this Jesus. Give me joy. Joy, important because it is the most infallible sign of God's presence. But where does it come from? First, it comes from the conviction that God loves me, fully convinced that nothing I do will ever make God stop loving me. Knowing this can cause nothing but joy. I believe the root of all unhappiness in our day is that we are forgetting this simple and beautiful truth that we are God's beloved, that we are loved by God. Secondly, joy comes from the conviction that not only does God love me, He actually lives inside of me. The life of God dwells in the soul of the believer. We literally share in God's life. We call it in theology sanctifying grace. And God will never extinguish this life. Only we can, by mortally offending Him. This is why mortal sin, serious sin, is so horrible, because we literally lose the presence of God in our soul. In my years as a priest, I've never once met a joyful sinner. They may say they're happy, but they're not joyful. Sin does not work. But the good news is that it can all be restored simply for the asking in the sacrament of penance. And so the deep joy of a good confession, to know what you need to do before Christmas, is crucial. To give Jesus His birthday gift, to go to confession and give Him your sins. That's the best gift of all. And thirdly, joy is trust. A sure rock belief that we're in the Father's hands and that it's going to be okay. It's going to work out according to His plan. So we have total trust in divine providence. I have brought Holy Communion to sick people who, in the midst of great pain, radiate an inner happiness. I have met people who literally have no idea where their next meal will come from, but they are people of joy. And I have also met very wealthy, very powerful, strong and healthy people who are petty and angry and very unhappy. Do you get the lesson? Joy has its source not in possessions, but in trust in a God who loves me, trusting divine providence. And fourthly, joy is prayer. We can approach God. We can ask for His help and His mercy, and He hears us. To believe this is a great boost to joy. Oh God, how good You are to allow us to call You our Father. But we live in times where there are many threats to joy, and first on the list, self-pity. Poor me. Me becomes the focus. I become the center of my thoughts instead of Jesus and His people. And here's the very problem. Mother Teresa of Calcutta would tell her sisters that the secret to joy is in the word itself. J for Jesus, O for others, Y for you. Put Jesus first, then others, then yourself, and therein is joy. A second threat to joy is worry. We can all find a dozen reasons to worry, and as Jesus said, it won't add 1 cubit to our span of existence. Cemeteries are filled with people who believe the world could not go on without them, who worry that all depended on them, mostly because they wanted it to and needed that control. But such worry takes a huge toll on joy. Worry is a sin against faith. And when we worry too much, other people notice it. We're distracted and not plugged in. People and things become a nuisance and a bother, and we hardly exude joy. And a third threat to joy, the one we fight so much at this time of year, is that happiness depends upon something outside of ourselves. Yet joy does not depend on acclaim or promotions or fame or prestige or power or bank accounts or fishing boats or sports cars. Oh, these things bring pleasure, but pleasure is not joy. If you are counting on anything or anyone outside of the Lord to cause our joy, you're setting yourself up for failure. And perhaps the greatest of all dangers to joy is being a complainer. There are two types of people: those who work hard, who try their best, who are not afraid of risk or failure, and those who sit on the sidelines criticizing the way it all should be done. As followers of Christ, we are called to be people of joy, conscious of being loved by God, grateful for His life within us, confident that it's all going to work out in the end, and thus at peace with God, myself, and others. As we await the arrival of a tiny little baby, let us be joyful, for the Lord is near. Today is our dress rehearsal for Christmas. I invite all baptized Catholics to attend Sunday Mass. If it's been years since you've been to confession, please consider taking the risk. And remember, we don't judge something by those who don't live it, but by those who do. Until next time, God love you.
Thank you, Father Russo. Coming up next, in a conversation with Bishop Michael Jarrell, Monsignor Richard Green interviews Bishop Jarrell about Bishop Jarrell's 10th anniversary here in the Catholic Diocese of Lafayette.
Good morning, and thank you for having us in your home for another conversation with Bishop Michael Jarrell of the Diocese of Lafayette. Bishop, thanks for being with us.
Well, it's good to be with you and with all in our viewing audience as well.
On Saturday, Bishop, you will celebrate the 10th anniversary of your installation as Bishop of Lafayette. First of all, congratulations.
No, thank you very much.
Tell us about that day and the day when you were installed as our bishop.
Sure, December 22nd. It was a very happy day, and it was a great celebration. The installation was presided over by Archbishop Francis Schulte, who at that time was Archbishop of New Orleans, and he had ordained me a bishop in 1993 in Houma. There were a dozen or so bishops present, and many priests, deacons, religious brothers and sisters in laity. It was held at the Cathedral of St. John the Evangelist here in Lafayette. It was a very joyful and festive day, and I have very good memories of that special day.
Well, Bishop, you had served as the Bishop of the Diocese of Houma-Thibodaux for almost 10 years. Was it easy to leave?
No, it was not easy to leave. I had served there for 10 years, and of course I had mixed emotions. Happy to come to Lafayette. I guess I felt like pastors do when they change parishes, which I had done several times before, and you've done several times in your lifetime. You regret leaving and you mourn that loss, so to speak, but then you look forward to the new challenges, knowing that it is God's will that you serve elsewhere. So I had mixed feelings, yes.
Well, Bishop, how do the two dioceses compare?
Well, first of all, Lafayette is 3 times the size of the Diocese of Houma-Thibodaux. So that's the first thing that strikes one. The cities are a little bit different. And the city of Thibodaux is in Lafourche Parish, and it is an older city, kind of the mother city of the whole area, very agricultural, and a place where farming was the basis of the economy, and later oil, of course. Houma is a younger city. It is larger now. It has a more diverse economy, a lot of manufacturing, shipbuilding, and that sort of thing related to the oil industry. And what we say, new money, I guess you could say. Lafayette, we all know what Lafayette represents, a more diverse economy now, oil, but many other things, and again, a larger city. And as far as the Diocese of Lafayette is concerned, it is very similar to the whole of the Diocese of Houma-Thibodaux. The people are very much the same. The French, many of them Cajun in both places. So some similarities, but there's some differences among the 3 cities.
Well, Bishop, could you tell us how is it that bishops are transferred? How does that take place?
Well, in my case, one afternoon I received a call from the nuncio. Now, the nuncio is the Pope's representative in this country. And he talked with me a few minutes to make sure I was the right person he was calling, and I had to assure him that I was who he thought I was. And then he simply said, the Holy Father has appointed you Bishop of Lafayette. Kind of like fait accompli. He didn't say, would you like to serve?
Yeah.
He said, however, he did ask, do you accept? And we talked for a few minutes, and of course I accepted. Now, previous to that, there had been extensive consultation between the nuncio and the other bishops in the province, but that's all confidential, and there was a consultation going on about what type of bishop Lafayette needed. So there is that process that is confidential, but I'm just reporting on the end result, the phone call.
Yeah. Bishop, how did you feel when you got the phone call? What were you feeling?
Well, I was kind of stunned, you know, because it meant that so many things would be changing. I would have a new territory and new co-workers and new challenges, and I just tried to remember the Lord's words, fear is useless, what is needed is trust. And by the way, that prayer has been a part of my life for a long time, but it came into special focus on that particular day.
And what about our past bishops? Do you have anything to say about them?
Well, I know the press made a lot about the fact that I was a native of the Diocese of Lafayette coming to serve here. I had been a priest in the Diocese of Lafayette for 26 years and of course spent my whole life in this diocese before becoming Bishop of Houma-Thibodaux Diocese in 1993. But let's recall, first of all, that our first bishop, Bishop Jules Jambard, was a native of Brobridge, and he served as bishop here for 38 years. So I was not the first native bishop. But also I would like to make the point that our non-native bishops have served us very well. Bishop Maurice Schexnayder was from the Baton Rouge area. Bishop Jared Fry was from New Orleans. Bishop Harry Flynn from Albany, New York. Bishop Edward O'Donnell was from St. Louis, and they have all served very well here. So I don't make too much of the native son idea.
I'm sure you were apprehensive about coming back home, especially to serve as bishop with your former fellow priests. How has it been?
Well, I was very apprehensive, but I must say it's gone very well. I've received great cooperation, and most of all, I've been very happy here. Lafayette is a good place to be bishop. At bishops' meetings, I talk with bishops from other places and hear some of the problems they have that we don't have. And so it's a great place to be a bishop.
And your greatest challenge here has been?
Has been having enough priests, I think. Our religious orders have been decreasing in numbers, and they've been withdrawing from parishes and turning them back over to us, to staff. And however, on the positive side, vocations are increased, people's prayers are being answered. We expect to ordain 6 in 2013 and 6 more in 2014, so that's very good news.
And any final thought?
Well, I'm just very happy to be here as a bishop, and I thank everyone for their prayers and their cooperation.
Thank you, Bishop Gerald and Monsignor Green. We hope you've enjoyed our program because it is produced for you. So please join us next week on this station as we tell the people about the Diocese of Lafayette and the good news of our Catholic faith.